welcome here. I am so happy today. We are going to talk about Today we're going to talk about self-love. Such a wondrous thing to have something like self-love. Is so important. What an awesome thing to talk about. What an awesome thing to have. What an awesome thing to be able to sustain in your life. Self-love is something that my mother has always instilled in me and my sister growing up. And I think that it is so important. My mom is working in the kitchen and she said she would be quiet. Clearly not. Alright. It's the juice that powers who we are. It's the juice that powers our esteem. It's the juice that powers our actions behind how we treat other people. And it is like gold. It's like having an emerald in your heart. I've personally carried with me in everything that I do in my life. So let's get down to business. What is self-love? We could be really simple and basic about the whole thing and just say, well, it's when you love yourself. Well, it is, but it's also much deeper than just loving yourself. It's the way you love others. It's the way you identify yourself and the people around you in your environment. It's the way that you view yourself in your mother and your friends and your father and your family. For example, if you're a musician, then the type of music that you put out is a reflection of the love you have for yourself, the integrity you have for yourself, the detail that you put into yourself, and that comes out in the form of music. If you're a writer, the words that you put into your pieces, into your essays, into your short stories, into your poems, that is a very accurate reflection of the way that you feel, the way that you articulate with yourself, and in turn have the ability to turn that into an art form. Even if you are more of a tactile, hands-on person, if you build things, then the attention to detail that you put into the things that you're building, the integrity that you put into the work that you put in with your hands, that's also a reflection of what you think about yourself. Everything that we create is an extension of ourselves. It's a direct reflection of what we see when we look at ourselves in the mirror. Self-love is your overall idea of who you are and how you feel. Self-love is your ability to not only create love within yourself, but it's also your ability to identify it around you. If you identify love around you as, a high positive, high vibratory environment, then you know that this is a healthy connection to love. You have love within your family and your friends, positive things are happening. You feel a lot of happiness and joy and things like that. And even in rough times, you still can maintain that love. I guess the contrast to that is if you are looking around yourself and you see a very acidic environment, a very low, dense, low vibratory environment where there's a lot of sadness, a lot of pain, a lot of confusion and frustration. That's how you know the love that you see in yourself is not necessarily healthy, because the environment around you is unhealthy. And if you are struggling to find love and joy and happiness in your primary environment, in the closest area, the area that you're in the most, then, you know, some changes need to be made. And those are some things we'll talk about later on in the video. What do we need self-love for? We need it literally for life. We need self-love when we take care of ourselves, when we eat, when we walk, when we talk. We need self-love in every single thing we do, because without it, it's almost like you really don't feel a purpose. You know, you don't really feel like the need to do anything, or you're depressed or you're melancholy and you can't really find happiness. That's when your sense of self-love goes down and you can't figure out how to get it back. I've been there before. I learned that I needed to really pay very close attention to my level of self-love, or my love tank, or the levels in my love tank. I went through depression in college and could not understand why I was so sad. Like, there were other elements and components like my diet, my hormones, things like that, but regardless of any of those other elements, like, I knew how I felt and I knew what I was missing and I knew that I wanted it back and that I never wanted to lose it again. So you need it to help you focus on your purpose here. You need it to remind you that your purpose here is not your only purpose. The purpose in your own life is not your only priority. And when you lose it, you understand its value, but you also, I guess, get the lesson every time you lose it, is that you need it. And it's your job to maintain it in your own life. You can't put that responsibility on anybody else. And it's nobody else's responsibility to maintain it for you, because it is self-love. That's totally why we need it. We need it to sustain ourselves and to sustain our foundational infrastructure of our identities. Where does it come from? We could be really basic about it again and say, oh, well, it comes from yourself because it's self-love. Well, that's not necessarily true. I believe that it's called self-love because it is the type of love that requires every aspect of yourself. Every aspect of you isn't limited to just your internal feelings and your internal thoughts and opinions of yourself. It also extends into, well, the opinions and feelings and thoughts of your family and your friends and any loved ones. Those are the other aspects that you also must pay attention to. You have to realize who's good for you, like who's healing for you, who's therapeutic in your life, and who's negative and painful and joyless in your life. Like, you want to learn who to keep and who to remove, what leaves to continue to nurture and hope that they bloom into something else, and what leaves to go ahead and drop and shed and all that good stuff. It comes from within, of course, but it also comes from your external forces, your external energies, the external elements of yourself, because as we know, who we are reaches and extends into the infinite parts of the universe. We can't think of self-love as just a confined box. We have to think of it as an infinite source that is constantly being run through our experiences in our own bodies, if that makes sense. But in layman's terms, basically, we have to take our God force, our flow, our funk, our whatever, and use that to generate that loving energy, to generate that love of self, that positive view of who you are. And once we have learned to generate it, we have to learn how to sustain it and maintain it throughout our lives, so that we have more experiences in life knowing how it feels to have it, as opposed to living a life without it, which is pretty sucky. Let's focus on the good stuff, and that is maintaining a life with a strong sense of self-love. How do we maintain it? how do we maintain self-love? We have to speak love into ourselves. We have to radiate loving vibes and energy out into the universe. We have to treat others with love and speak love toward others, into others. And we have to uplift ourselves and others, because the reason that the golden rule is golden and that it is the ultimate, most important rule in the universe, when you treat others the way that you want to be treated, you get treated the way that you want to be treated. Basically, the energy that you put out is the same energy that you're going to receive. The way that you treat others is the way that you're going to get treated. What you say about and to others is the same things that people are going to say about you. If you want to maintain an environment, a loving environment, if you want to create a loving environment in your everyday, then it is up to you to make sure that you secure that energy and keep generating it. Because the simple fact that you want it is enough will and intention for the universe to, or the creator to pay attention and, you know, work on sending that into your life. But if that's not what you want and those aren't your intentions and you're not putting that type of intention out into the world, then that's not what you're going to get. And you get what you get and you don't throw it. We maintain self-love by exuding the love that we wish to receive, that we wish to keep generating. When we make love our number one priority, I don't mean drop everything and just tell everybody you love them. That's not at all like how that works. It's not something you do in a day. It's not something you can really learn without simply living your life and observing the things around you, speaking less and experiencing more. Making love your number one priority is as simple as waking up every day and saying one good thing about yourself. If you're really committed, then saying one good thing about yourself every hour. It starts with choosing to place love in everything that you do. When you do that, you really create a system of love making. Honestly, you really do make yourself a maker of love, because you decide to do everything with love in your heart, love in your intent, love in your will. The will of the Creator is love and abundance and prosperity and all those good things, but the only way that we can maintain that flow between ourselves and the Creator is love. So when our self-love is low, our connection with God is low. Our connection with the ultimate source of everything that is low. And how sucky does it feel to be disconnected from everything? When you are everything, when every part of you is just a compilation or an intricately complex system of everything. You know, isn't that crazy? That's about it. That's all the heart speak I have today. But thank you for watching. I've been really enjoying the comments that some of you have been putting under my videos. So please keep them coming. Please give me suggestions. Thank you so much for the positivity. I hope this video was helpful. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Love you guys. Peace and blessings.